much for all coming along. My name's Tracy Seacombe, if you haven't met me before, and I'm very good friends with Sue. I was telling someone before that I drove the wedding car in her wedding.
You did too.
On my
That's next door.
Birthday,
Did you remember? Hardy's next door.
Really?
Yeah.
My 20th birthday, so 24 years ago. You've been married such a long time.
Oh no, I need a medal. Or Chris does, one or the other.
So my background is I'm a physiotherapist, and I've run my own physiotherapy company for 17 years. And about 18 months ago, well actually a little bit longer than that, I did a personal development course through Bob Proctor. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Bob Proctor. He's featured in The Secret, and he's in America, and I did this course with him, and it was just completely life-changing. Anyway, he talked about multiple sources of income and really opened my eyes to the fact that you don't have to work really, really hard to be wealthy. I thought you had to work really hard. That's what I was doing. That's what I've always done. And so very soon after that, I attracted the sort of coincidence, if you like, of somebody introducing Jeunesse to me. And I haven't looked back ever since. So I still run the physiotherapy company. I'm married with 3 children, and I do Jeunesse part-time. And it's covering my very expensive school fees for my 3 children. And in about 2 years' time, I expect to be earning $1 million a year from Jeunesse. So it's an incredible opportunity, and I'm just so excited to be a part of it. And I've introduced Sue, and Sue's introduced Julie. So if anybody's interested after the talk about the products of finding out about the business opportunity, just let me know. It's very, very easy because the products are so incredible, they sell themselves. So who in the room has used the products? Okay, great. So the products are breakthrough science. So the way it all started is there's a guy called Randy Ray and his partner Wendy Lewis. They were retired billionaires because he developed the IT program for NASA to behind the space shuttle. And so they came out of retirement because he went off to have an arthroscopy on his knee, found out that when you've got lots of money you don't need to do that anymore. You can actually donate your own stem cells and have the stem cells injected into the joint, and you'll grow back brand new tissue. So whatever's damaged, you can basically grow it back now. The same goes for heart disease now. In America, if you have a heart problem, rather than having heart surgery and having stents put in, you can actually have your stem cells injected into the heart and you'll grow back heart tissue. So if you don't know much about a stem cell, there's 2 different types of stem cells. There's embryonic stem cells, which is what we've got when we're in the first 2 days after we're conceived, which actually grows the tissue of our body. And then after day 3, we actually start to develop what's called adult stem cells, and that's what we have for the rest of our lives. And the purpose of an adult stem cell is to repair any damage in our body. So an adult stem cell doesn't have any characteristic, which means it can turn into any kind of cell in the body. So if you damage brain tissue, then the stem cells come in and turn into that brain tissue so that it can repair that cell that's damaged. So what Dr. Nathan Newman did, who is the Hollywood no-cut cosmetic surgeon to the stars, is he developed something called the stem cell lift. So they will donate their stem cells through their fat and then have them injected back into their skin, and they grow brand new skin cells back. The other thing that he does is actually repairs really damaged bone and facial structures. So for example, there's a video that the girls can send you if you haven't seen it, where a man had cancer and he actually had part of his face removed as a result of that cancer. And he went to lots of different surgeons looking for reconstructive surgery, and nobody was able to offer that surgery to them. And he actually had stem cells injected into his face, and over 2 years grew his face back. So he grew bone, nerve, muscle, everything he needed basically, and it looks the same on one side as the other. So it's quite miraculous and quite incredible the way medical science is going, and in the future it will be very common for us to repair spinal cord injuries, you name it. Stem cells will be the way things are treated. But of course, like everything, at the moment it's an extremely expensive procedure, and it's only available to those who can afford it. So what Dr. Nathan Newman decided to do was to come up with a serum that would actually be more affordable for everybody. So to develop this serum, what he does is somebody who has liposuction, they've found that the best place to get the stem cells is actually the fat around the belly button. So the people that have liposuction around this area donate their fat. So instead of throwing it away, they actually extract the stem cells out of the fat. Then they get the stem cells tested to make sure that it's A-grade healthy, and they put it into a nutrient-rich media. And what the stem cells do is they reproduce really quickly, because that's the whole repair mechanism of our bodies. And as they do that, they excrete what's called growth factors. Now, the important thing about the growth factors is our stem cells are different. So we all have our own genetically coded stem cells, so we wouldn't share stem cells amongst ourselves, whereas the growth factors that are excreted by the stem cells are the same in all of us. So the serum, which is the cornerstone to the product range, actually is 85% active ingredient, which is growth factors that's actually derived from human stem cells. So when you put this serum on your skin, what actually happens is the growth factors, which is the chemical language of the cells, works out and communicates with your cells what's wrong and what needs repairing. And this is why this works for every skin type, because no matter what needs repairing in your skin, this will work it out. And that's why it's appropriate for young skin as well as very aged skin. And if you get the girls to send you some before and after photos, I particularly love that one of that woman who's probably 80 and has very, very deep lines in her skin and very big dark age spots, and that all clears up really quickly after about 90 days. So it's quite incredible because it's actually penetrating the dermis and reaching the cells, so it's actually changing your skin at a cellular level. For me personally, I've had significant changes to my skin using the whole skincare range, but I started off just with the serum just to see what the serum could do on its own, and within 3 weeks noticed a change. I was encouraged to take before and after photos, which I would really recommend that you do, because you look at yourself every day, so it's easier to be able to compare photos to be able to see that change. I noticed a significant reduction in fine lines around my eyes. My dimples had turned into like the Grand Canyon, so that's really improved as well. And I'd started to get like sagging over my jawline. And because I've grown brand new collagen, my skin is plumper. So being thin, I'd actually sort of developed a thin looking face from thin skin. So I've got much plumper skin as well. But the main thing that's changed over a longer period of time is I had significant pigmentation all over my face. Without makeup, I looked like I was still wearing sunglasses inside, because there was just white around my eyes, and then the rest was kind of blotchy, brown and red. I had a lot of redness as well. So I had a consult for laser treatment before I even heard about Jeunesse to see whether I could have that pigmentation treated with laser. And they warned me that 2% of the population will get worse with laser treatment. So they did a test spot and I was in the 2%. It went black. So I had this black sort of thing on my face until I was using the Jeunesse for probably 6 or 7 months. And so now my skin is a really great even colour and just looks much, much better. So I actually compare photos with my wedding day, which was when I was 31, and I think my skin looks better now than it did then. So it's really great for normal, healthy skin, but it's also really great for problem skin as well. My daughter, who's 14, exactly the same age as Jess, they were born on the same day, she's had really bad acne probably for 6 months, and it's really cleared up from her using the products, and she also uses the supplements. But I've seen people with really severe disorders like eczema and psoriasis having really good results. And acne scarring, that's probably been the most remarkable change that I've seen, where women in their 40s who have like pockmark scarring is gone. They have smooth skin now. So you can imagine that that can't happen unless you get into the cellular level. Like you can't fill in holes in your skin. And even if you were to inject collagen, it would give you little lumps because they wouldn't be able to do it evenly. So it's really, really incredible the changes that you can expect from the products. So the product range is nice and small and simple to use. They've got this fantastic cleanser. The cleanser wholesales for $32.95 and lasts for 6 months because you need such a small amount. If you use too much, you're wasting it and you don't need to. But also it because it gets to the cellular level, it detoxifies your skin. So some people who have got a bit of toxin built up in their skin will detox to start with, and a few people will get a little bit of redness and dryness to begin with and maybe a breakout. But if you keep working through it, it's worth it, isn't it, for all of you that just love the cleanser? It really gives you the softest skin because it's got a gentle exfoliant in it. It doesn't feel like an exfoliant at all. It actually lathers up with water and goes on as a nice soft lathered, you know, I want to say the word soap, but obviously it's nothing like soap. And for those of you that remember apricot scrub, is anybody in my era? Where we were really damaging our skin by, you know, rubbing kernels on our face. It's nothing like that, so you wouldn't even know there's an exfoliant in it. But the effect of it is very similar to a really, really gentle peel, so like you're having a skin peel. So that's why everybody that uses it has that fresh, brand new sort of baby skin coming through because you get rid of all the dead skin. So you start with the cleanser and then you add the serum. The serum being 85% active is so much higher than all the other serums on the market. If anybody's ever used a serum in the room, vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin D, they are usually 5 to 10% active ingredient, and that's why you get such profound results with this so quickly. The rest of the ingredients are organic, natural, plant-based ingredients with all of your antioxidants. So all of the big names that all of the other skincare range sell themselves on, like vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin E, is in here as well, all from natural sources. So nothing is manufactured or chemical based, so it's all completely natural. So a very small amount of the serum goes on next, and then you add the daily moisturiser with 30 plus SPF. This is beautiful because it goes on so lightly, and I know before I was using this range I had to do two things. I had to put a moisturiser on and then I had to put a sunblock on, so it was exhausting. There was so much to do. So this is just one that goes on all together, and although it feels really light, you actually get a really long-lasting moisturising from it all day. My business partner, who's 56, used to moisturise her skin twice a day, so she'd get sort of by 3 o'clock in the afternoon and felt like she was dry again and had to put more moisturiser on, but hasn't had to do that ever since she's been using these products. Partly that's because it's getting to the cellular level and it's actually getting your body to do what it should do, which is hold on to fluid in the cells. So rather than adding moisture just sit on the top, it's actually getting your cells to hold on to water, which is the natural process of having moisturised skin. So that's a beautiful day sunblock as well. So my kids all use that one during the day. And then the night repair is absolutely beautiful. This jar will last you probably 3 months because you need such a small amount. Apart from having the active ingredient in it, which is derived from human stem cells, it also has a patent-protected ingredient in there that protects your DNA and repairs your DNA. So obviously when you're asleep, this is when the repair is going to happen in your whole body, including your skin. So the night repair is the really best time for you to be repairing any DNA damage. And basically the process of ageing comes from the fact that we're born with genetics, and some genes or some chromosomes are switched on and some are switched off. We want to switch off the ones that are bad and we want to switch on the good ones. So if your DNA is never damaged, then you don't develop ageing diseases. It's the damage of our DNA that's caused by free radicals, and this is why you read about antioxidants so much, is to protect yourself from free radicals. So damage to that DNA damages the cell, which is then causing the ageing process and disease. So this is actually repairing the DNA at the cellular level, which is why people are getting such amazing results, and why some of us in the room wake up with no lines on our face, which is very exciting. So that's the skincare range. So it's a nice simple range. So the cleanser serum is done morning and night, then during the day cream, and at night the night repair. So it's very simple. There's no eye cream, and a lot of people ask me about that because we're in the habit of using an eye cream, and that's the miracle of this. You don't go anywhere near your eyes when you apply it, so it's like you leave this area completely and just apply it everywhere else. But because it penetrates to the cell and then the growth factors communicate, it spreads. So if your eye area is the problem area, that's where it's going to target, but it's doing that well under the dermis and you don't need to apply it near the eyes. And probably some of the mistakes people have made when they've rung me up with red puffy eyes is that they've actually put the cleanser over their eyes. So don't do that. You want to stay right away from it and rinse really well. Because the other thing about the cleanser is it'll produce your normal hyaluronic acid. So you'll see a lot of products that have this added, so it's actually like a chemical acid that's added. It'll get your body to produce its natural acids, and that's what's going to exfoliate your skin as well and keep it so fresh. So that's the skincare range. All of that ships from Sydney, and so do these Reserve gels. Now these gels are just fantastic. They're the most potent antioxidant you can get, but the really magic ingredient in these is resveratrol. Who's heard of resveratrol before? Who's heard that red wine's good for you?
That's fine.
Okay. So the reason red wine's good for you is because of resveratrol. So resveratrol is found in the red grape, and to get the dose of resveratrol that's in this from red wine, you need to drink about 80 bottles in one sitting. So hoping none of you can do that. So red wine's good for you to a point, but this has this full dose of resveratrol in it, and one capsule of this per day is going to actually activate or switch on our anti-aging gene. So Centurion 1 and Centurion 3 are our anti-aging genes that we're all born with, but it's not turned on. So the way they discovered this is in the Japanese island and some of the coast of Greece and Italy, they've discovered why people live into their hundreds, and it's quite common for them to live past 100. And for a long time they put it down to omega-3s and fish oil. And although that plays a part, they've found that the most significant reason they live longer is because they eat less calories than us. Our diet is more processed, and often if you're eating very natural foods, there's a lot less calories in it. When you eat less calories, so if you reduce your calories by 40%, you actually increase your longevity by 40%. The reason for that is reducing your calories turns on Centurion 1 and Centurion 3. This turns them on without you reducing your calories. It's a lot easier. So one of those a day will do that. When I feel like a tickle in my throat, I'll up the dose of this and have this when my throat feels sore, and nothing ever comes. Nothing actually takes hold. So it's a really, really potent antioxidant and really, really exciting. The other results that you get from that is, and it's an anti-inflammatory, a really good anti-inflammatory. So as a physiotherapist, a lot of my patients have found that they feel so much better with their arthritic pain and their sort of chronic inflammation with this. And all disease starts with internal inflammation. So heart disease, stroke, things like that come from internal inflammation. So it's a really good preventative of all of those things as well.
Tracy, what did you say about those last time? How, some of the juices they say that are antioxidant?
Yeah, so the reason they're like this and in a capsule rather than in a bottle is because once you open this, within half an hour it would actually oxidise, so it's no longer got those rich antioxidants in them. So the beauty of this is you rip the top off and drink it down, and you're getting it fresh from nature, so you're getting that full hit of antioxidants. So it's much more powerful than having something in a bottle where once you've taken the lid off, it's actually going to oxidise. So then it's not effective. So that's a really important way it's packaged as well. So that's the Reserve. The other product that everybody completely raves about is the AMPM. This is not just a multivitamin. It covers absolutely everything that you need. It has so many ingredients in it, in fact, that the way that you find the ingredients is that you actually have to peel this label to be able to see what it includes. But if you've ever been recommended any vitamin or mineral before, who's been to a naturopath and been told that they need something? Like every time you go, you need something, and you can spend a lot on lots of different bottles of all the different things that you need. This basically will let you throw everything out. This covers it all. But on top of everything that you need, it also has the breakthrough science, which is the discovery of the telomere. So in 2009, the Nobel Medical Prize went to the scientists who discovered the way the cell ages. So inside the cell, in the nucleus, you've got your chromosomes, which make up the DNA, and at the end of each chromosome is something called a telomere. If you think of a shoelace and think of the plastic little cap on the end of it, that's what the telomere is like. It's protecting that chromosome. And each time the cell reproduces, some of the telomere gets broken off and it gets shorter. So they can now measure the age of your cell by measuring the length of your telomeres. So you know how you can have a test to see how old you are, like a biological age test, and it's to do with body fat percentage and all of that. The latest science is actually the length of your telomeres. The AM/PM with natural plant-based ingredients actually maintains your telomere length. So I would have liked to have started taking it at 27. That would have been a really good time because that's about when the ageing process starts. So if you can imagine, if we don't have any disease now or we're at that preventative stage, we're maintaining the telomere length, which means we're maintaining our healthy cells that haven't got into that deterioration process where they die and then reproduce damaged cells. The other thing that the AM/PM does is it mimics calorie reduction, so you're getting your anti-aging genes switched on with the reserve as well as the AM/PM, and it also increases your metabolism. It changes the way you metabolize sugar, so a lot of people have found that with the AM/PM and the reserve that their blood sugar levels have gone back to normal, even type 2 diabetics. So I know quite a few type 2 diabetics where their blood sugars have gone back to normal. Me personally, I've got the high cholesterol hereditary gene, so my mum's got it and my brother's got it. And I was laughing when I was going to the doctor about my diet because I have a really, really good diet, and she was going through all these things, yes. And it's just that high cholesterol, but it doesn't matter how good your diet is, you just have genetically high cholesterol. So after I was on everything for a year, I went back to the doctor and I just said, I'd really like to have all my blood tests done again, and my cholesterol's gone back to normal. So I'm really excited about that because, I've really done everything else in terms of exercise, diet, positive thinking, meditation, and now the AM/PM has sorted out my cholesterol. The other thing about the AM/PM, which I particularly loved, is it increases your muscle tone and reduces your fat. So I've gone down a size since I've been on the AM/PM, and I've got rid of my cellulite. So it was worth it just for that. Forget the rest. So that's the AM/PM and the reserve. The other product that we don't have here at the moment, but I've got a brochure here because I did my 10-day detox before Christmas, is Propectin. The Propectin has actually been endorsed by Dr. Nobel from the Nobel Prize family and the one that invented the MRI. He's never endorsed a product before, but the reason he's endorsed this is because the thousands of people whose lives have been saved with it. It was developed for the people that had they were exposed to radioactive fallout. So basically they end up with radioactive dangerous metals in their bodies, and this has been shown to reduce that by 65%. So it's quite incredible in terms of those areas of the world. The reason we also use it in a place like Australia is because of basically toxins in our life. So food, the environment. We're luckier here than a lot of places. But when I did my 10-day detox, I actually found that metals were actually flushed out of my body, literally. So it's incredible to know, how much dangerous heavy metals we have in our body anyway, even if we live a fairly clean life. So my plan is to do the 10-day detox every 6 months. So it comes in a sachet, and you basically mix it into water and have it before each meal. And you can get a 10-day detox pack, or for people who are unwell, you can get a bigger pack to do it for longer. It's actually being used in cancer wards for people who are having chemotherapy, and they use the Propectin in between their chemotherapy to get rid of the dangerous metals that are left behind because of the chemo, which is why people get so sick. And the results have shown that they've reduced the throwing up, the nausea, and all of those terrible side effects that people get from chemo by using this. It's all natural. It's taken from the inside of the skin of Polish apples. So, very fancy, that one. And then the latest product that was released in March when I was over in Las Vegas is Finity. They've actually discovered how to grow the telomere longer. So what this actually means is that we're reversing the age of the cell. So a lot of people can't believe that because I guess it's been a long time that everybody has said you can't do anything about the ageing process, we do get older. Well, they've now realised that because they've understood how significant it is that the telomere gets shorter, that if they could work out a way to make the telomere longer, that they can actually reverse the age of the cell. So the Finity has a product in it called TA65, which is naturally plant-based, And what it does is it produces telomerase production, which is the enzyme you need to make the telomere grow longer. So it's a completely natural process. It's a process that happens, right up to the late 20s, and then, like everything else, we just get this imbalance where there's more damage with slower repair. So we get less production of this particular enzyme, and that's why the telomere gets shorter. So I've been on it since March, so I'm, 3 months younger. I'm going backwards in time. So that's all of the product range. And basically the way that you can try the products is you can either buy an individual product and you can pay retail, and you can see on the bottom of the bottom table the retail prices, or if you'd like to buy a package of products, you can buy them at wholesale price. And you can also set up what's called an auto ship, which means that once a month you'll get one of the products sent to you, and you can change which one it is. I, for example, I go through a box of Reserve every month. My kids have it as well. And I also go through the AM PM every month. I know people on a budget have stretched this out to 2 months. I have a really busy lifestyle, so I take 2 AM and 2 PM, but I know people who get really good results from taking one of each as well. I probably get about 6 weeks out of the serum. So, and then as I was saying before, the other products really last a very long time. So you can get involved as a wholesale customer. You can also come and see me if you're interested in finding more out about how, to get involved in the business side of things. From my perspective, it started off very part-time for me. I'm really busy with my physiotherapy company and 3 kids, as some of you will be able to relate to, and my husband. And it just grows. So basically the income grows from it, and it's very, very new. It was launched here in Australia in October last year, and you've been able to get it if you've known the right people for 18 months in Australia. So it's very, very new. It also only started in America 3 years ago, so it's new worldwide. The other thing about the business opportunity is we're open in 85 countries, so you don't need to just enrol people in your backyard, you can enrol people around the world, which is very exciting. So my team has expanded to Norway, Malaysia, America, and we're about to go to France. What I'm doing at the moment is going, where do I want to travel? Who do I know there? So I have a tax deduction travelling to all these countries. So if you have any questions, please feel free to come up and see me. But if you talk to somebody who's used the products, everybody's had a wonderful experience with it, and because they really target whatever it is that you need personally, everyone gets a good result, because it doesn't matter what type of skin you have, it's going to really target that spot. And the amazing thing is people that have really good skin end up seeing really good results as well. A lot of people who start using it already have good skin, and they just feel like their skin gets better. Julie would be a good example of that. I always thought Julie had beautiful skin anyway, and she absolutely loves the products. So I'm spending a lot less on these products than I was before I used these products. I used Aspect Doctor before, and I thought they were nice, but they didn't do anything remarkable like these have done. So the other thing about the AMPN is within 5 days of taking it, I had the best night's sleep I've had since I had my first child, 14 and a half years ago. My 8-year-old son still gets into bed with us most nights. We just got a king-size bed because we got sick of putting him back to bed. And now I hardly know whether he's in there or not. I just stay asleep, which for a mum is totally unusual, because normally you just wake up to everything and then you stay awake for the rest of the night. The other thing is that my hair and nails grow a lot faster. Absolutely. And I have a lot more, so fast. I'm forever cutting my nails. I'm one of these people that don't have time for long nails, so I'm always cutting them. And my beautiful natural blonde hair needs more touching up because my hair grows so fast. I've got like the black strip. And lots of energy. That's probably the most amazing thing, is just that all-day energy. And that's because with the ageing process, our biorhythms get messed up. So, and interestingly, that's what happens to teenagers. So if any of you also have a 14-year-old who wants to stay up really late and sleep in, it's actually normal. That's what they go through at that age. And then we grow out of it, and then when we get older, it starts to happen again. You're like 3 o'clock in the morning going through your to-do list, and then you can't get out of bed in the morning. So it sorts that out so that you actually have a really good quality sleep, wake up feeling refreshed, and then have energy all day. So
you must also balance your hormones.
Oh yes, it does balance your hormones as well. Yes. Thank you.
They've stopped. helps.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It does. It really
Yeah.
does help with the hormones as well. And again, because it's an ageing process for the hormones to get out of whack, once you're reversing the ageing process or maintaining that and stopping it, you will find that the hormones balance. Because my husband said that I'm not as moody. I don't know what he's talking about. Can't be me.
And it's anxiety as well, you've had people saying.
Yeah, a
it
lot of
helps
people
with
have
anxiety
got
as
rid of
well.
anxiety. And, you know, AMPM, the adults have said, but people have given this to their children for anxiety, and people have had really good results with that. And the same with digestive problems as well. So, and depression. I've actually got a few people who are on antidepressants, and by taking the combination of these, they just feel, what did she say? Clearer in her mind, like she can concentrate more. So I think the antidepressants obviously have an effect, and she's not able to go off